In this video, we're going to show you how to use each and every piece of equipment in a safe and effective manner in the Guilfoyle gym. You'll also notice that we have a QR sticker on each piece of equipment. And if you get your phone, download an app to QR read it, take a picture, and that will then give you video footage of how to use each and every piece of equipment in your gym. So all of the equipment here at the Guilfoyle is of a live fitness brand, apart from the rower. So what that means, it's a great piece of machinery and it's very easy to use. So what we need to do first of all, as you'll notice, the machine is electric. So through the PowerPoint, it'll actually be on already. To get the machine actually working in operation mode, we just have to press quick start. And what that then does is allow us to either do a program if we'd like to, and following the buttons to prompt you through that, or moving that arrow will take the level up to a level that allows you to find what's right for you, okay? Obviously you want to work at a level that's comfortable and gets you working hard enough, but quite simply, body nice and tall, keep your chest open, arms moving in a nice smooth motion, and that's the obviously movement pattern for the cross trainer. You'll also notice there's a television on the cross trainer, the treadmill and one of the bikes here. And to operate that, there's a little panel here where there's a red power button to turn it on. The number's there to choose your channel or your up and down mode. And there's a little hole there for you to obviously attach headphones. So that is quite simply how to use the cross trainer. This is the Concept 2 rower. It's a fantastic piece of equipment, very good for a lot of muscles to be used within the motion of it. And there's a number of screens that we've got to touch and move and get everything right here. So we've got the main screen here, we've got the resistance level down the side, but before we actually get on it, we need to find our foot position. So if you have a small foot, this little piece of plastic is your foot holder, and you'll move it up as far as you can that way for a small foot. If you've got a bigger foot, you will slide it down accordingly. So in this situation, that will probably be fine for Daniel to use. We'll move the other one down, and you'll see that now has two holes showing. Daniel, put your feet in there if you can, mate. Strap across, and we should get this black piece across down near the bottom shoelace of the shoe. So once he puts his second foot in there, tighten the strap, we're all locked in, ready to go. We won't pick up this yet, but that's the handle to it. Meanwhile, we've got a screen, as I said, and we've got the resistance. So down the side here, level 1 is a low level of resistance if you haven't got much back strength or arm strength, so it'll allow you to row with minimal resistance. If you'd like more, you obviously move that up towards the 10 for extreme resistance. And it's not a major difference between the two, but you will notice it if you're going to be on here for a period of time. As we then get ready to row, we'll go with level 10 today. We need to then press the screen which has got a menu and a back button that we'll push first. All right. Now sometimes these take a while to get going, and as you can see it has, but there it is now. So we've got an option of just rowing, or we can customize and select certain workouts. For today's purposes, I'm just going to show you how to just row. So we'll click there and you can see the screen comes up. Now you've got change units and change display. So again, play around with that yourself, but you can see that it sometimes shows the boat moving against another boat, or you can just see how much your wattage that you're rowing at. But in this instance, as I said, we'll do it generally. So Daniel, grab the bar, and he's just going to hold that at the moment. And when he starts, you'll notice the screen starts straight away. So start rowing there, Daniel. And if we have a look on the screen, obviously time starts moving. He's got the calories per hour, which we can change the units through, and there's our meters. So if we have a look there, most importantly, let's see how many meters that he covers today, and that'll be part of your questionnaire as well, so stay tuned. As he rows now, the idea is to reach forward in a generic form of rowing. There's the real rowing athlete style of rowing, but for most people in the gym, we just want to do it in a safe and controlled manner. So as he rows, the bar will come somewhere between chest level and belly button level, and we're trying to squeeze our shoulder blades together. So our chin's up, we're reaching forward, and we're pulling back through our legs to execute the start of the movement, and then our arms and back at the back of the movement. So we'll stop that there, Daniel. All right, so as I say, if we look closely here, You'll notice that it's now accumulating all of his meters that he's done. And in our session today, we've got 184 meters. Just in terms of getting out of the rower, we want to make sure that we put the handle back in its little holder. And to get the feet out, there is a little gentle push apart to loosen the strap, push your heel up to the sky, and then withdraw the heel and foot out. Same on this side. Release, heel up, toes out, and you're off and finished with the rower. There it is. This is the Life Fitness treadmill. There's one here at the Guilfoyle gym, and I need to take you through the safety side of things first before showing you how to use it. So be aware that treadmills can be moving in certain gyms, and in this situation there is only one, as I've mentioned, but make sure it's not moving, because some people may leave here, have it turned on, and you walk in and step on it. So just check that it's not moving. If it's not, then it's time to approach the treadmill, which Luke will do, step up onto it, and be prepared to start pushing some buttons to get it moving. So first things first, we want to make sure that we're aware, safety-wise, that there is an option to put this clip on a t-shirt or your top. And if, when moving, you lose control, fall off, lose footing, whatever it might be, this will give a pull and a tug on this little red button that's an emergency stop feature. Okay, so if likewise you come to use the treadmill and that's already disconnected, you're not going to be able to start the treadmill. So just be aware, the little red button here has to sit nice and snug on the machine. As I said, the clip option is there for safety, but you don't have to use that. So if you elect not to, how do we then start the treadmill and get going? As I said, it's stationary at the moment, but as soon as we press start, the treadmill is going to start moving. Very slowly, but just be aware of that. You'll notice that there's a quick start button here, and there is also one down closer to you here. So whichever option you'll take, you'll see there's a whole host of different programs that you can use, and I'll let you take your own time and liberty to look into doing that. But we're just going to show you how to use it on a simple level with an increase and decrease in speed, as well as an increase and decrease in incline. So if we press quick start here, Luke, you'll see, will start moving very, very slowly when it gets up and moving. It gives you a 3, 2, 1 countdown, and then it starts moving. Now to get moving, we've got speed here, incline here, and if you'd like to set a timer to bring it down, you could select that one as well. But in this instance, we're just going to manually take this up to a walking level. Usually walking speeds anywhere between 5 and 7.5 kilometers an hour. So I'll take Luke up to 5 kilometers an hour. When we've got that at 5 kilometers an hour, you can see that you're just moving forward against a moving treadmill belt. And if we would like to increase the incline to give it an angle, we can push that up as well and have that incline for him to walk up as well. Now there's another little feature to know, that if you would not like to keep pushing beep, 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 beep every single movement upwards, you can override that and go to 6.5, which makes it 6.5. Press enter, and the treadmill will move accordingly straight to 6.5. So for you runners out there, that's a great option for moving rather slowly to quickly in a quick period of time. So if we want to make him go to 12 k's an hour, not that I will, but I could press 1, 2, 0, enter, and that will take him straight to 12 kilometers an hour. So we'll assume we've had enough of using the treadmill for the exercise purpose for today. To stop it, 2 options. Cool down will allow it to come down gracefully and slowly, or we could just press stop. But we're going to go the cool down option, and eventually when you feel that your body's cooled down, you've got your bearings around you, then you'll just comfortably press stop. Okay? You'll also notice again the television feature is here, and you've got your little pad here that will either be velcroed there or just sitting in this little holder. And same as shown before on the cross trainer, turn it on, play around with your buttons, and that's how we use the treadmill. The last piece of aerobic equipment here is the Life Fitness bike. We've got one here with the TV screen and one out the back over there without the TV screen. So in setting up to use the bike, you'll notice that there's a little lever here that we take up or down to suit your leg height. So in this instance, we've got Kieran that's going to use the bike, and we've got it set on 15. Now the way that we select the seat height, generally speaking, is this using his hip in line with the seat, and so therefore your own size for your seat height will be based around that hip position. So now, Kieran, have a seat on the bike. You'll notice that there's some stirrups to put your feet into down here that we just have to adjust, and then putting your feet into those, we sit up nice and tall. Now you'll notice, and the same with also the cross trainer, the treadmill, and both bikes, is they do have a heart rate reader. So when pedaling, one of the options that will come up on your screen is your actual heart rate. So that's a good little guide to work out how hard you should be working at. But moving on, if he wants to hold on to the handlebars here, the bike again has a power point, but in terms of getting it started, we need to start pedaling. So straight away, Kieran pedals, the screen turns on. From there, we've just got to press quick start, much like the other machines. And in pressing quick start, we begin our workout. Now there are a number of options where you can set programs, but for today's purposes, I'm just going to show you how to use it generally. And all we need to do is press the arrow button upwards, and that'll take us to our level of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and above. Just find the level that works for you. So in doing that, you'll notice that you've got some little numbers across the top of the screen: distance, RPMs, time, etc., etc. And those sort of things, as I say, in addition to programs, are enough to get you riding along on the bike. So the main purpose of using the bike is to stay upright, back nice and straight, chest open, and just drive your legs through in a straight manner. Once again, television-wise, if you want to turn that on, you've got your power button there, and you've got your numbers and everything, just like the other pieces of equipment. And that's quite simply how you use the upright bike. So this machine serves two purposes. We've got a leg extension and we've got a leg curl. The leg curl works our hamstrings at the back of our leg, and the leg extension works the quads in the front of our leg. To make it work, you've just got to pay special attention to how I'm going to set up the movement of the two benches. So if we look down the back here, you'll see there's a little black lever that we pull out, and we move this down from what was the leg extension into a leg curl position. So this one comes up into there, and this one comes here. Now I'll move around the back, and I'm going to get Daniel to lie down in a second, but what I'll show you is you also need to extend this one here to the length of your legs. So if you're tall, you'll take this down till that shows an L for long. There's a medium, and there's an S for short. Now Daniel's got long legs and he's tall, so we pull that down, click it in, and we've got it locked into L. Daniel, lie on down for me. And if you notice, as he lies down here, we've already pre-selected a weight. So down over here in the pin-loaded area, we pick our weight, slide that in and make sure that's in safely. We've then got the position here where the back of his calves sit up against the padding. We've got his hamstrings exposed through here, which are the muscles that we're going to use. He has his back nice and stable and braced, his glutes contracted as well, and with a nice straight back and holding onto the handlebars underneath, Daniel's going to bring his heels up towards his bum and isolate and use his hamstring muscles. So you can see just in a nice controlled motion up to there and back down again, nice and slow and controlled. We don't want the weight plates to touch again, so we want to stay on stretch. So he'll lift up again now, and it's 2 seconds up, 2 seconds down to get a controlled, slow movement and get the maximum utilization of your hamstring muscles. So we'll do one more repetition there, and then back down slowly. And as usual, we don't bang the weights. We place that down gently, and that completes the hamstring curl. Now in doing that, you will see that we've also got a little half weight that can come down if the weight moving from one to the next is too drastic and too big. Otherwise, we hook that one away there, and Daniel's done on the hamstring curl. Moving now from the leg curl to the leg extension, we have to move the two benches back the other way. So we come over here to the black lever at the back, pull that out, the seat will drop the back will come up and we're locked in, okay? Now before we start this one, again, we have to adjust the leg lever at the front. So what we'll do here is, once again, for someone with long legs, we move that down, and for someone with shorter legs, we move it up, okay? So in this instance, again, we're going to go down to the longer one, lock it in, and then Daniel's going to come around, sit himself over the seat, and then bringing in both shins and front and top of his feet, in and under, and we probably actually do need to take that up a little bit. So we lock that in. He'll put his front of his feet on top of there. His quads sit on the top of the bench seat, and ideally, the quad muscle is what we're going to execute. So once selecting the weight, again, we have the half weight here if needed, which we'll give him. Lock it in, and sitting up nice and tall with a straight back, chest open, braced abs, contract your quads, and then with the front of his foot, it's going to push up and result in movement through his quad muscle, all the way to not a full locked leg, just a slight bend, and then lower it back down again. Again, just before the weight touches, so that the muscle stays on stretch, and up again. We'll get one more repetition, but we want to go roughly 2 seconds up, 2 seconds down, and control the motion. Once we're done there, we lower the weight gently, and that completes the leg extension. This is the lat pull down and seated row machine, okay? So it's only got two purposes that we're going to use it for. You'll notice that there's some instructions here not to use it incorrectly, and also to be aware, as we mentioned in the gym induction video, lowering this bar, make sure it doesn't hit the roof. So when we look at this machine, the lat pull down, we work through our upper back muscles and arms, and I'm going to show you that in a second. And the seated row is a pulling in motion, i.e. the row motion, which I'll show you. But first of all, you need to select a weight. So once again, you've got a little half weight here, if you want to add a little bit of extra weight, if it's too much between one plate and the other. And then we'll select a weight accordingly down here, which we're going to select 60 pounds. So before we get started, I'm just going to mention a couple of things that you need to know. The barbell up above can be used in a couple of different hand grips. One is extra wide. More commonly, I'd prefer to use it just outside shoulder width apart. And you can also do a close grip, pulling it down in that manner. Okay, so when we choose to do whichever of those three grips that you use, you will come and sit down over here, which I'll get Luke to do now. You'll notice that this is a fixed leg position. So ideally try to minimize how much you use that to lock your legs into, but we want to sit up as tall as we can with our feet forward a little bit more, nice and stable. You'll notice that before we even grab this barbell, we want to have Luke's scapula, which is this two sort of little areas here on the back of our backs, if you're not aware, our shoulder blades. We want to make sure his upper trapezius are not involved. So we want 80% of the population are overactive there. So it's really important to do this properly and not involve these areas of your upper trapezius. We want to get this area and through our lats when we do the motion. So from sitting here, Luke's going to put his arms up in the air, which I'll pass the barbell to him, but you'll obviously grab that yourself. He's going to have his hands just as such, with thumbs either on top or under. He's going to, again, pull his shoulder blades down, sitting up really tall with his chest out and his abdominals braced and a neutral spine. And when he's ready, he'll pull this down with his elbows coming down towards his lats and down to somewhere between nose and chin is the normal range that we want to use to get the maximum engagement and not use the wrong muscles for what we're trying to achieve. So up he'll go there again. You can see he's up nice and tall, okay, through his chest and arms, engaging his back muscles, and all of his core is stabilizing to get the most out of the movement. And we'll do one more rep, and then gently lower that and stand it up. Again, releasing slow, and that's the lat pull down. We're now going to use this machine as a seated row. So what we need to do is use this little handlebar down below, okay? We sit up really tall with our feet up on the two little poles down out the side there. And we want to make sure that when we're sitting up here, chest is open, braced abs with a neutral spine. Again, like I mentioned with the lat pull down, we depress our scapula and our shoulder blades, or they are our shoulder blades. And from that position, we grab onto the barbell or the bar, sit up nice and tall, chin up in a nice neutral spine, and then pulling through in between our back muscles and releasing to a slight bend in our elbow. So you'll see some people use this type of motion like the aerobic rower that we showed on the Concept 2. And so just to show you, this is not the right way to do it, okay? Because we're loading up our lower back with a weight. So we just isolate the top part of our back, we squeeze between our shoulder blades, release, and that's how we use the seated row. Lower the weight gently, and you're done. So here we've got 3 exercises in one. We have a chest press, which is a straight out motion using our chest. We've got an incline chest press, which is on a 45-degree angle and works the top part of our chest. And then we've got a shoulder press, which is a straight up controlled motion. So to start things off, I'm going to set this up for what is the chest press, and we'll move through the other ones as well. So what we need to do first of all is pull out the lever, and obviously you can see it moves into 3 different positions. So that one there would be shoulder press, that's the incline, and where it was is the chest press. So from there, again, we select the weight with the pin. We have an extra little weight if required, and otherwise, Daniel's going to have a seat. You'll notice that as he sits down, there is also a lever down below to adjust the seat height. So if you're tall or short, you can adjust that accordingly. But we would really like to have this bar, or 2 bars, across chest level for a chest position. So in sitting in that position where he is now, he'll take his hands out. He wants to make sure that he's got neutral spine in through here, braced abdominals, chest open, depressed or shoulder blades down, and then retracted together. And when he's ready, he's going to push that forward to execute a chest press. He'll take it back, but not let the weights touch, so it's on stretch to about there and pushing forward again. And that is the chest press. All done. The incline chest press, we need to come in, pull the lever out and move it up to the number 2 position there, which is halfway between 1 and 3, and therefore puts us on a 45-degree angle. Once we've set our seat height using the lever down below, Daniel, come and have a seat. You'll notice that when he sits down here and sits up nice and tall, chest back, chest open, back and shoulder blades depressed and retracted, he's then going to lift his hands up here and keeping his head nice and straight, pushing that upwards, it'll come out on a 45-degree angle, which is halfway between shoulders, halfway between chest, and it makes it sort of the top of our chest muscle as well as the anterior and front of our deltoids. And just nice and controlled, breathing in and breathing out. Obviously not going that low that the weights touch, just keeping it on stretch, and 1 more repetition, and that's the incline chest press. Done. To set up for the shoulder press here, which uses the deltoids up above our shoulder there, we need to move the bar all the way to number 3, let it click in, and that now puts the handlebars here for us to push upwards. And as I said, engaging our shoulders. So, Daniel, have a seat. You'll notice that as he sits up nice and tall again, his hands go in an upward motion underneath the barbells or the bar handles, and he's going to push that upwards in a controlled manner, engaging his deltoids, and then back down to around about ear level and up again, and making sure not to use his upper trapezius through there. So it's just those three: anterior, medial I should say, and posterior deltoids. And that's the exercise done. Here you'll notice that you've got some stretching mats that you're more than welcome to use. Just make sure that after using them on the floor, you replace them back where they're located. Underneath these, you've got 2 Swiss balls, which by all means, use them in any capacity that you'd like within the gym. If you do need any more specific advice, feel free to go to our YouTube channel and you'll notice a number of Swiss ball exercises that you can use. And otherwise, finishing off, we've got the TV over here with the remote. You've got Foxtel there connected to that, which you can use when in the gym. Just remember to turn them off when you leave. There's also the air conditioning unit here. Again, use that whilst in the gym, but make sure it's turned off before you leave. You know about the wipes in wiping down the equipment. When you've finished using those, if in case you don't know, there is a bin just over here. And otherwise, enjoy your use of the gym. One final thing to consider, when you're in the gym, make sure that you do an ample warm-up. At least 5 minutes is advisable to make sure that your blood flow increases, your aerobic, the breathing pathway gets you to execute the most out of your aerobic fitness training. And when you're doing your weights as well, if your muscles are cold or you've been sitting down for a while and you try to come in and do some weights, there's an increased likelihood of doing some form of injury. So just make sure you do that before it, and afterwards it's always advisable to have a stretch. One final point, make sure that you don't hold your breath and always practice correct breathing techniques. Enjoy your workout. You have now viewed both the gym and pool induction video, in addition to the how to use the gym equipment video. And you will now be required to complete a questionnaire to ensure that you have watched this video and the gym and pool induction video thoroughly to have your access to the gym and pool areas granted. Please note that the Owners Corporation have the right to revoke your access should you breach any of these rules outlined within.